Once a giant, always a giant. For me, it's only a giant.
What's going on YouTube? Diggy546. Definitely hit that subscribe button if you're new. Like the video if you like the video. And I won't tell if you click that bell. But let's go ahead and get into this. Alright, so the news is official. The Giants have officially released James Bradberry. And we all expected this. We all hoped that we could have gotten something in return for him. We thought we would be able to get a fifth at one point. Sometimes we thought we would even get a third. And I was really dead set on getting that third round pick before the draft, but it is what it is. Decisions have been made, and James Bradberry is no longer with the team. And this pretty much is an indictment on Dave Gettleman. Giants fans are like, running the streets, the streets of Twitter at least, to just bash Dave Gettleman and talk about how bad of a job he did here. I'm still kind of on the fence about Dave Gettleman. I thought it was time to move on, definitely, but I'm on the fence if I want to say that this entire thing is his fault when ownership has definitely played their part. Also, when you look at it, that team looked like they were ready to compete. So why not push some contracts back so you can get a guy like Kenny Golladay? So you can get, that guy on your team that you think is going to take your quarterback to the next level. So that way the Giants might be in the playoffs that year. Who could have predicted that the Giants not only wouldn't be in the playoffs, but they also would take a step backwards and lose their coach? So yeah, Gettleman probably shouldn't have restructured Bradberry's contract to put some of that guaranteed money back. But you guys cannot tell me that you all weren't celebrating and running the streets with joy and have a whole. I had a Galladay watch stream, and it had the most people that I had ever had in a stream ever. So obviously you all were agreeing with all of Dave Gettleman's moves until they went wrong. So don't be that fan now that just completely tries to just make judgment in hindsight. Now, if you're one of those guys that said we shouldn't be pushing back money, we shouldn't be doing this, we shouldn't be doing that, take your victory lap. But the other people, I mean, come on. You agreed with what Gettleman was doing. As long as we got Galladay under that cap last year, you all were excited. And I'm hoping that Galladay isn't the next guy that has to go, and I hope he's not underperforming. I'm hoping that this Bradberry thing is what we had to do. And the best case scenario, Galladay has a great year and has a year that allows him to finish out his deal at least, because last year was very underwhelming. But more specifically on James Bradberry, the dude was a really good corner. As I said in my last video, top 15 corner at worst, in my opinion. Top 3 in his prime in 2020. He could play press man, not at a high level, not as well as he could play press zone. He could play off zone too, but he could really play. He could play all kinds of coverage. He could play off zone. He could play press zone. And he was just really good at keeping his eyes on the receiver's hips, keeping his eyes on the quarterback, making plays on the ball. So many pass deflections. I mean, I think he had over 30 pass deflections in the 2 years he played with the Giants. It seems like he's been here forever, and he's gone. So that's just the way it goes. It sucks to see these players that come here and are losing players. They come here and you like the player and you fall in love with the player. And their entire tenure as a Giant, we've been a losing team. Sterling Shepard, a fan favorite. It just seems like we're so used to winning in the past that having these players come to the New York Football Giants and not even experience a winning season and be a good player is just shocking to me. It's just shocking to me. And it just shows the state that we're in. And like I said, part of that is Dave Gettleman. Part of it is ownership. Part of it is bad coaching. Part of it is so many pieces that go into why we ended up where we ended up. But now we got to put our faith in Joe Schoen. Joe Schoen got here. He's enacting his plan. He probably tried everything under the sun he could do to keep Bradberry besides pushing back more money. He already pushed back Adorie's money, so he didn't want to do it again. I can respect that. I don't see any need to do that. It just doesn't make sense, especially when next year you want to make some things happen. If Daniel Jones has a big year, you got to have money to pay him. If Saquon has a big year, you got to consider paying him. You got Andrew Thomas's contract coming up the next couple years. I think after next year, he'll probably be available for an extension. I'm looking at some more guys. I mean, Xavier McKinney's going to be up soon. So, you got to pay attention. Not up soon, but you get what I'm saying. You got some guys coming down the pipeline that you think could turn into some really good players. Why not clear as much cap space out as you possibly can? And I'm just hoping that James Bradberry does not go to Washington and does not go to Philly. Please go to Raiders. Please go to Oakland. Go to Oakland. Have fun there. Do not go to Washington or Philly because it's going to stink watching them play against Kenny Golladay and pretty much probably shutting them down because James Bradberry against those big receivers is a terror, which is why I'm so disappointed because he was not as good as Adoree Jackson last year. He just wasn't. Adoree Jackson stepped up and became that best corner on our team. But one thing that he does extremely well is when we play against those big body receivers, he can duke it out with them. He can play press against them. He can get physical with them. And they're not able to control the game with physicality because James Bradberry can come up and really, like I said, be physical with them. And we lose that element. We don't have a guy like that. Aaron Robinson is a fighter, but he's not a vet. He doesn't have the old man strength, the old man strength that James Bradberry had. He just doesn't have it. He doesn't match up as well. And we're going to miss that element. We're probably going to be looking to replace that element soon. But a guy like A.J. Brown, I don't know if I just mentioned it, a guy like A.J. Brown, a guy like DK Metcalf in the league, some of the guys as far as the NFC goes, I don't know why I'm linking on some of the big body receivers in the NFC. But there are some that just have gotten here, especially my mind is just zeroing in on A.J. Brown because he's a big body receiver who just got into our division, who, if James Bradberry is on our team, I feel really good about it. I feel that we're under control. I feel like the guy's not going to get more than, 40 to 60 yards with James Bradberry on him. But now when you introduce new things to it, it becomes tricky. So looking at our cornerback landscape, we got a ton of corners, ton of young corners, and they're going to all have to step up. I mean, the obvious guys right here, Adoree Jackson, another young corner. He's a guy who's on his second contract, but he's still extremely young. I think he's only 26 now. Adoree Jackson. You got Aaron Robinson, who's probably slated in right now to be your outside guy across from Adoree Jackson. You got Cordell Flott, who we just drafted, who's going to have to do a lot of maturing in his first year. You got Rodarius Williams, who we liked as a rookie in the preseason, but when he really got going, he didn't look as good as he looked in the preseason, which is understandable. Also, we got a couple of other guys like Jaron Williams, a couple of guys we picked up. Darren Evans from LSU too, we picked up. Guys are going to have to duke it out. Julian Love will probably get a couple reps at corner. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes if they can really step up and be change makers. But you're throwing a bunch of young corners out there, and if we're going to play that press man and send a bunch of blitzes, you got to believe we're going to get torched a bunch this year. But hopefully that torching, slows down at the end of the year, and we got some young cornerbacks who have gotten better, who have progressed as players, and who are ready to go in 2022, or it is 2022, who are ready to go in 2023. Because playing that press man, hopefully McKinney can be that rover over the top and kind of compensate for those guys. But playing that and sending blitzes, sending the house, you're putting a lot of pressure on those top three corners. Adoree Jackson, I feel good about. Aaron Robinson, okay. I mean, sure. Cordell Flott has the speed to do it. Aaron Robinson has the speed to do it. It's just if they can be, as young corners, if they can solidify themselves as guys who can play that press man and not get beat over the top. Because I can live with dialing up a full house blitz, sending, 8, 9 guys. I can live with doing that and giving up a 20-something yard completion. What I can't live with is sending that many people and giving up an 80-yard touchdown. That's unacceptable. So you guys let me know what you think. James Bradberry has moved on. He will be going to another team. Let's hope it's not in the NFC East. But let me know your opinion down in the comments. If you made it this deep into the video, come on, just hit the subscribe button. I make Giants content primarily, draft content secondarily, and during the season, I'm going to be doing a lot of reacting to pretty much most of the NFL games and everything NFL. So if you made it this deep, go ahead and join the D6 squad.